As long as I've been doing this show, and as long as I've been directly talking about it, I have still yet to tire about going over the very nature of comedy. We've spoken at length about the theory of comedy and laughter as being the expression of witnessing an unexpected outcome, but rarely have we talked about the actual language of comedy, English. Now that might come off as narrow-minded to say, but when you think about how joke and humor structure works, English fits the best. And I don't mean in the case of puns, but because of how English is spoken and the rules of English. Let's take for instance a classic joke. A horse walks into a bar, the bartender asks, "Why the long face?" Now think about that joke, how it's set up, how it's knocked down, and where the laugh is expected. The first sentence is a declarative statement, with the subject, the horse, being the target of the expected joke. The second sentence lines up the target with a common phrase that is reframed humorously in conjunction with the target, and ends with the point of laughter. Long face. English allows for this setup beautifully, to the point that when people tell jokes, they tend to follow a rhythm. I think pretty much everyone has internalized this rhythm to the point where they don't even notice it even when they're telling a joke. A horse walks into a bar, the bartender asks, "Why the long face?" Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. Pretty much every single simple setup punchline joke shares this rhythm. This is owed mostly to the fact that English is a stress-timed language, with every word having a particular cadence owed by the fact that English plays favorites with syllables.
It's assess the window, not asses the window. You put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
This is further exemplified in not only how a joke is structured, but also by how a joke is delivered.
I never fucked a 10, but one night I fucked 5 2s.
Now, if the joke is supposed to be about juxtaposing quality with quantity, wouldn't it be funnier if he had said he fucked 10 1s instead of 5 2s, since, if I remember kindergarten correctly, 10 is more than 5? Well, no, not exactly. Think about how George said that line. He hangs on 2. He leans on it hard because that's where the joke will hit, because that's where the rhythm of English would take him. If he tried that same line delivery with 10 1s, it just wouldn't work. I never fucked a 10, but one night I fucked 10 1s. See? Doesn't hit. The syntax and diagramming of English allows for a joke to have the impacting punchline be at the end of a sentence, where it needs to be, and the dialect of English allows for emphasis that further strengthens the joke.
You don't hunt for quail. You might track quail. You might walk behind them, wondering what kind of a miserable fuck existence do you have?
Recently, Eddie Izzard made a point about how humor is humor regardless of language, since he does his routine in 4 different languages: English, German, French, and Spanish, and he hardly has to change a line.
Comedy exists all around the world. Sense of humor is human and not national. That's the interesting thing, because people say, "Oh, the French have this and the Germans don't have it." It's not true. It's all around the world.
However, this notion isn't universal, especially with a language like Japanese. Japanese is structured with the most important and stressed part of the sentence placed at the beginning, whereas English has no particular structure of that sort. As such, a joke is completely castrated because the object of the sentence is often where the punchline happens. English goes subject, the horse, verb, walks into, object, the bar. Japanese goes subject, the horse, object, the bar, verb, walks into. You see where a joke can get lost in the translation? Worse still is that Japanese is so dependent upon context that emphasis has to be used to change the meaning of a word. For instance, kami, depending on where you put the vocal stress, can mean god, hair, or paper. There is no such thing as emphasis for humor. Case in point.
あなたはカイサルが犬の食べ物やサラダに遺産を見つけることを悲しんでいると思いますか?
Now, because of all of these linguistic barriers, Japanese humor often relies on puns since there's a lot of vocabulary overlap in the language, and on broad visual humor, much like today's subject, Dragon Half. A 1993 2-episode OVA, Dragon Half exists within the same realm of other anime comedies like Excel Saga and Cromartie High School. Mile-a-minute slapstick gags and referential parody. Not a beat goes by without some kind of super deformed chibi scene or another such jab at anime cliches. And while it does take a certain kind of person to enjoy this certain kind of humor, I find it completely endearing. Yes, I know who I am when I say that, and I will back myself up. This is Dragon Half. We begin with our lead, Mink, fangirling over the studly dragon slayer / singer Dick Saucer, which apparently rubs her father Ruth the wrong way.
Your father used to be a very famous swordsman himself, you know.
But there's no comparison between them, Mom. Compared to the shining moon that is Saucer, Father is yesterday's garbage.
Lies. All of it. There is nobody in this kingdom who can defeat Ruth, the Great Red Lightning.
Oh! I just remembered the recording I made this morning! Why?
Yep, it's that kind of anime. Now, I wouldn't necessarily blame you if you couldn't stand this, so if you want to click on some other video, go ahead and do it. But remember, this is your only warning, so from here on out, it's all on you. Good, moving on. We're further introduced to the rest of Mink's family, including her actual dragon mother, who was supposed to be killed by her father, but wound up marrying her instead. Now, such a union might be commonplace for your typical fur affinity account, but theirs is not a relationship that's smiled upon by everyone, least of all Ruth's former liege.
For such treachery there shall be no excuse. Now that he is found, Ruth shall be put to death. And once he is dead, his beautiful wife will be mine!
But who can be up to the task of taking out Ruth? Well, the court magician Rosario certainly seems eager, even if his dramatic entrance is aided by a $50 trip to Spencer's Gifts.
Leave all the details to me, my king. I go.
From a visual perspective, this joke is set up wonderfully. Looming dark music, low camera angles to establish dominance, all undercut with him just meekly walking away with his bucket of dry ice. Perfect execution. However, the gag is somewhat undone by the fact that earlier in this scene, they cut to the bucket to reveal that it's just dry ice, and thus the surprise is gone. I get that maybe the joke needed to cut away to let people know what it is, but I feel like this is tipping its hand way too soon for the gag. But really, no one notices it when the anime plays at real time because of the breakneck pace. There just isn't enough time to think about a joke, but there is just enough time to react to a joke. And when all you're after is a visceral reaction, speed literally kills. Anyway, seems that Mink has been jonesing to see Dick Saucer in concert, promoting his new CD that I'm kind of sure is a dig at Burn Up. Either that, or is just another case of English. Also, this is a mystical land of kingdoms and sorcerers, and televisions and CDs. I've seen Hackmaster games with less anachronistic settings. Well, it's no wonder that Mink here has been smitten by Dick. The man has the melodic pipes of a young Frank Sinatra.
Saucer! It's powerful, and it's red, the red dragon.
After he's huffed an entire bucket of paint. Still, this obsession of hers provides Dawson here a perfect opportunity to exploit her weakness and have her fall into a trap with a Dick Saucer ticket as bait. Or to just pump her with enough Karari darts to make Andy McDowell seem legible. But his plan to abduct her and lure out her father fails when she no-sells the darts and just backhands everything put in front of her. And yet, still no Dick Saucer tickets.
Just what is all of this racket?
Oh, nothing at all, Mistress Vina, and I already have your special seat reserved.
What is this grungy little tramp doing here? What did you just call me? I'm just a poor innocent young girl who's angry about having been tricked by a blockheaded old man who gave me a fake ticket!
Alright, I know that Mink here can be kind of an earful, but if you think for one moment that you can escape this by putting on the Japanese audio... there is no escape. There's no escape. Looks like Mink is tangled with the wrong princess as Vina here tries to exact revenge for her father.
Don't get cocky just because you kissed my saucer by accident, you little hussy. I'm not getting cocky at all, you meanie! Yes, you are! Well, why not? Can't I have a little fun too? I'm just a normal girl who likes saucer like everyone else!
Yeah, what normal girl doesn't want Dick Saucer in her life? It's just inconceivable that any healthy, red-blooded, vibrant woman wouldn't want Dick Saucer in her life. If there's one thing that I do know about the female species, their sole passion in life, the raison d'etre, if you will, is dick. Saucer. They grow up so fast. The hammer comes crushing down when Vima here breaks it to Mink that Dick Saucer is a dragon slayer, which I thought Mink already knew, but whatever, and that he'd have her head on a wall before he'd have her in his bed. And this devastates her.
What are you, a steroid pusher? You're so mean!
How dare you say that Dick Saucer wouldn't crush this puss? You're so mean! Why does the princess scorn Mink so? Well, as Mink is half dragon, Vina is half slime, but she managed to hide it, so she thinks she deserves the happy ending with Dick Saucer and not Mink. What? Makes sense to me.
Mink has stolen a kiss from my precious Saucer, and she must pay. She is my enemy, Father.
Oh, don't be so selfish! Why don't you go play Monopoly with some of your little friends?
Now if you'll excuse me, I'm late to join my brothers in a children's card game! With Mink at a loss, her friends inform her of a mystical potion that will allow her to turn fully human, and thus be able to get her clam jammed. So the three set off for the ultimate prize, but winds up in the clutches of another warrior sent by the king, who apparently has an NO portal just like Naota.
I attack!
I, Ramos, shall ever regret this.
As if the comparisons to Excel Saga weren't enough, right, Brett? The idiot is hoisted by his own petard, and the rest of the crew barbecue his dragon, which is maybe cannibalism? But the king is not one to give up, resorting to using Dick Saucer himself to slay her, and thus ends the first episode, in which we are greeted by a peculiar end title theme. Yup, that is an amalgamation of Beethoven's many symphonies patched together to create a song about omelets. Because dragons come from eggs? Setting aside the subject of the song, the music itself is very interesting in its arrangement by Kohei Tanaka. Taking motifs from Beethoven's 7th, 5th, and 9th symphonies to cobble together something new, it's a surprising treat for those musically inclined. It's the audio equivalent of a magic eye picture. The more you listen to it, the more Beethoven you hear. Kohei Tanaka, huh. Wonder what else he's done. Oh, no you don't! Back! Back, I say! Back! The second episode begins with Dick Saucer trying to slay Mink, but is called away when he's late for his concert. I'll be honest, the plot, while purposefully rickety, really begins to break down here as the king and Dawson just decide to trap Mink into a fighting tournament to kill her. Yup, they resort to a fighting tournament arc by the second episode. My real hang-up, though, is that all of this effort was supposed to get Mink's father out of the picture, not Mink herself, but that's completely fallen by the plot's wayside. You might make the argument that it's all part of the joke, but if that's true, then why aren't they actually making the joke? If both the king and Dawson are so wrapped up in trying to get Mink that they completely forget the reason why they're after Mink in the first place, do something with it. Otherwise, a joke not made is no joke at all. Regardless, Mink just so happens to be running short on cash, and also just so happens to be nearby where said tournament is going to be held. And it also just so happens that the guy taking tickets is a Cyclops Jackie Mason.
There are so many putzes who want to be in the tournament every year that we can't admit them all.
You think the Schmendricks would wisen up, but oi, what do I care about some meals?
So far, only 7 people have passed this year. Can you beat him with your skinny arms? Can you, little girl? Ready, go! Hey, if you will just step this way, please.
Of course, shenanigans are to be expected, but no matter how they try to stack the deck against poor Mink, it always goes sideways, like when she inadvertently gives a bottle of X-Lax meant for her to Dick Saucer.
I'll get you for this, dragon!
In this topsy-turvy world of ours, it's comforting to know that no matter what your walk of life is, poop is always funny. What is no laughing matter, though, is the return of Brett. How did he survive having his sword plunged into his own head?
Perhaps no ordinary person could have lived through that, dragon. But I am not normal. You see, Damaramu's brain is very, very compact. And since my brain is so amazingly compact, it was only nicked a little on one side, causing very little damage.
Ah, so he's a Raiders fan. Look, what are you gonna do, Raider Nation? Cry in your beer about your team moving to Vegas at me? Looks like Mink's in trouble as Brett has been rebuilt. Better, stronger, faster, but not smarter.
Now to finish it, you die! Damaramu will ever regret this! I have prematurely expended my ammunition while showing off! Well, I'll use my super alloy kick! Damaramu's run out of gas!
My, what a stunning sequence of stupidity!
So Mink manages to pull out the win and winds up facing, the son of a warlock, who also happens to be a shrew. And it seems like this fight is personal to the little guy. But why?
What are you talking about? I've never even heard of Azana Dev until just now! Hold on a second. I've got to go check what happened in episode 1 again. Good morning, Ming. Good morning, Luke. Ah! They cut all my scenes out of the first part of the video! I told you so, and now you have no reason to fight me, isn't that right? Shut up, you! A demon doesn't care about story continuity! I'm gonna beat you up anyway!
Ladies and gentlemen, the writing process of about 80% of the anime I've ever covered. And there's no joke in that. We often forget that anime is made on a tight budget, tighter than any animation project can reasonably operate under. As such, a lot of material has to be cut to meet deadlines and stay in the black. So might as well break the fourth wall and make a gag out of a hard situation. And this also might explain why there were only 2 episodes of this made, because the ending here is quite terrible. Mink just punches the shrew and wins the tournament. The end. No potion, no human mink, no dick, saucer. Needless to say, this is all pretty frustrating. But it's not all bad. At the very least, the property was rescued by Discotech, and so what was out of print came roaring back onto shelves, and onto Crunchyroll, believe it or not. Because of this, I purposefully left quite a few gags out of my review, so when I encourage others to seek it out, there's still jokes for you to be surprised and laugh at. What's more, the manga is being made available for the first time in English later this year by 7 Seas Entertainment, so if any of this strikes your fancy, you know where to look. It's unfinished, it's messy, but at the end of the day, all it needed to be was funny. And it is. You know, going over a good comedy can be quite difficult, but covering Dragon Half reminded me why we should do it from time to time. So, tell you, what are you still doing here? Please? Please, whoa, no, you are not reviewing another title on this show. This is Anime Abandoned, not a low-rent Playboy After Dark. Please, oh please, oh please, oh please, oh please, oh please. So that's what that feels like. Oh dear Christ, this is embarrassing. Do you even have an anime you want to talk about? Yes, of course I do. No, you don't. No, I don't. But still, when has that ever mattered? Come on, Sage, it's been months since I've done an episode. Fine, go ahead. I could use the break. Pick anything in my closet you want to cover. Ha ha! The day is mine. But no porn! I mean it. Who said anything about doing a hentai? I wasn't gonna do a porno. Having trouble out there? I'm waiting. I found something. By Aphrodite's beauty have I found something. Till next time. Oh, and what was that joke from earlier, Sage? Do you think Caesar would be sad to find out his legacy amounts to dog food and salad? I don't get it.